garlic up here for a long time. There's my bag of orach drying. But I'm gonna go ahead and chop their little necks off and their little toes off. I just put these 30 bulbs in a cardboard box and I'm gonna shove them underneath the couch until I need to plant them later this month, September or early October. Hello! So all morning it has been kind of just overcast with a bunch of sun breaks. I actually even opened up a little bit the greenhouses to get a little bit of airflow going, but now we are getting rain. It should be just hopefully a little sprinkle and a little pass, but I have to admit, folks, sorry to be a downer, but I am slightly depressed because of this weather. It has been raining and raining and raining. And this one day, you know, you feel like, okay, I'm just like, what can I get done? I've got all these things I have to do. What one thing can I get done when it's dry? Anyway, it's raining. It should pass. The sun might even come out again. But so in the last video, I showed how they got it started with this expanded garden area, brought the equipment out here, pulling out stumps, and now we have a layer of sand out here to start. Eventually we'll get some soil, but sand is much easier to come by here than soil, so we're kind of waiting on soil. Last week I was having problems with the deer getting in the fence because I had just, you know, moved it back and kind of set it up temporarily, and it was kind of wimpy and the deer were getting in. So then I had to kind of actually get serious and do a better fence. And so far they haven't been getting in, but I probably do need to deal with that edge there so they're not tempted to get into that whatever last bit of clover's in there. But today we're not dealing with deer and that sort of thing. What we are going to be dealing with is behind you, I've got my potato patch. And it's not 100% ready to harvest, but I really just need to get it out of the way so they can pull a few more stumps and, you know, kind of get some sand in there as well. So that is what I'm focusing on today, is harvesting potatoes. So the gray clouds kind of passed. So we just got some fluffy white clouds and the sun's been popping out from behind the clouds, so that's kind of nice. This is my potato patch behind me here, and I probably should talk about what's going on right here, because I haven't even really covered it this summer much. This is my Hugo culture that I built a couple of years ago, and it was meant for berries, but because last year I didn't have any berry plants, I went ahead and planted potatoes in here and then harvested those. And then at the end of the year I got some raspberry plants, 6 of them from folks in town, and so I planted those. They came up in the spring, but they really haven't done much, and I don't know, this area is kind of shaded, plus it was kind of a cold, rainy summer, but they didn't even bud or anything like that. And then the deer started eating them, so I had to kind of fix the mesh fencing around them and pin it down with rocks. And as the plants have grown, the deer have been sticking their heads over and eating the tops. So anyway, and then with the rest of it, I thought, you know, I'll use that space to grow some chamomile flowers, because I like chamomile tea. So I seeded it really heavy and they didn't come up very well. You can see some kind of growing here, but then there's these big patches where nothing came up. So then now what I have is like volunteer potatoes and tons of weeds and a few chamomile flowers. But my plan is, as I'm harvesting these potatoes behind me, to take that seaweed stuff and composted rotted seaweed that I planted them in and pull it over onto this hugelkultur. And yeah, I've got a video where I talked about how I planted my potatoes. This is kind of an experiment where I put some rotted seaweed on top of this geotextile called Typar. And so it's the first summer I've done this, and we'll see how it goes. So here I am. This is the Typar that I planted my potato patch onto, and I had 10 Satina variety potatoes planted here, and then a bunch of Haida potatoes in a section here. They grew a little bit more slowly. They came on a little bit later, so they still have kind of green leaves, but I'm gonna pull them up anyway. And then back behind me, kind of everything's a little bit dying off. I've got German Butterballs and another variety called Shepody. So this is what I'm getting for my Satina potatoes. Not very many. I'm growing a lot of potato leaves and yeah, a lot of potato greenery. So Tyler and I pulled a couple of the Satina potato plants yesterday, so kind of get an idea what was going on. But I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and shovel some of this, just shovel the dirt onto the hugelkultur as I go, just on top of the cam milk, flowers, everything, just kind of, you know, get this out of here. And so then I can kind of work this direction, kind of muddy, dirt free. Okay, so I got my orientation all wrong. In this patch, I have 25 plants of Shepody. And so I'm like, why am I getting even more potatoes? And so that's why. And on the other far end, I have the 10 Satina plants. So otherwise I got it right. Shepody, Haida, German Butterball, Satina at the end. Whoa. So yeah, I'm growing lots of plant, but I'm growing a few potatoes too. A few potatoes here and there. So I think I got all the Shepodies, and I've just been tossing the dirt over here onto the hugelkultur around the raspberries. I think the technique is going to be cut all of this lush vegetation here first and then get the potatoes out. So we've gone from Shepodies and we're now moving into the Haida potatoes. Alrighty, so I've got the vegetation all clipped back there in the Haida potato patch. But now I need to done round off and do some other chores, so I'll be back for this. So it was raining all last night and this morning, so I only just got out here in the afternoon. I've decided instead of moving from that direction through the German Butterballs, I'm going to start on these 10 Satinas that I planted over on this side. So yeah, it's pretty wet stuff. Yeah, wow. With the Haida potatoes that I got last night at the very end, there was just like a lot of little tiny baby potatoes hanging onto their little umbilical cords. And anyway, what was that one potato? I'm just happy to get whatever potatoes I get back this year, because this was, you know, I was late planting potatoes and I had to throw them in. You know, what Farragut Farm does, you know, I have this video when we did a visit to Farragut Farm, which is north of Petersburg on the mainland. Ooh, there's the seed potato there. Disgusting. And they use a mixture of just straight seaweed and grasses, you know, that they get grasses that grow, you know, in the intertidal areas or whatever. And so this, what I wasn't able to get just seaweed when I made this patch. And so I had to use the rotted seaweed I had from the compost bins, and then some, almost kind of composted stuff from my other bin. And so the stuff is really rich, really nice for growing potato greens, but not necessarily for growing potatoes. So I didn't really expect much, and I'm definitely not getting much. Wow, this is like the worst return I've had. The Shepody's did pretty decent. But these are not doing much at all. But I mean, whatever, I'm getting potatoes back. So, I'll be able to use them for, eat some of them, and use some for seed potatoes. Oh. I've been tossing the dirt onto the hugelkultur as I go, and this one's got a green guy. And I'm just thinking of all the little volunteer potatoes I'm gonna have next year over there. And then I've been taking the plants with all the little babies on the roots and throw them into my compost bin. So I'm gonna have like a ton of volunteer potatoes all over my garden. Ah, well, such is life in the fast lane. Okay, now this is German Butterballs. So yeah, not getting much of these guys. Oop. Oh, there's more. Yeah, oh my god, like what is this, like one potato in here? This is not like the best potato harvest video. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell which ones might be German Butterballs falling from the other side. Windy! Okay, so I'm just going to keep on trucking, folks. I'm not sure what kind of slug love business we got going on here, but that is some weird stuff. Okay, folks, so the sky is looking pretty gray and grim. I don't know when it's going to start raining again. I put my little tiny bit of Satinas into this bucket, and then I've got my German Butterballs in here. German Butterballs. And I'm not getting, it's like with all the potatoes, I'm not getting that many potatoes per plant. But because I planted a little bit of an area here, I am getting some. But I've got like 2 more beds to hit, and I'm not really sure how much I'm going to get done. I've thought about just like cutting back the greenery here and throwing a tarp over it so it doesn't get, when it rains again, it doesn't get a whole lot more soaked. Anyway, so there we go. That's where we're at so far. buddy? Are you just sitting outside here in the rain? Are you the little bud? Oh, you are. Hey, little buddy. What you doing? Oh, no. Oh, gee willikers, it's wet, huh?